After her boyfriend became a capsicle and World War II ended, how will Peggy fare at a little old phone company while Howard Stark is a traitor? Hello everyone, welcome to my review of Agent Carter Season 1, and I did not expect that little line to be so difficult to do. Also in an hour you'll see a spoiler talk, get that out of the way immediately. Now Agent Carter was a very likable character from the first Captain America movie, so making a show about her seems like the thing to do. It's also interesting because I always like going back in time in that sense, even with like, you know, like the game LA Noire, for example, where you also kind of play around in like, I guess, post World War II maybe. I don't remember when that takes place, but kind of in that time with those type of cars. I like seeing that world and I'm happy to see more of it. Also, yes, this is still the continuation of the Marvel Cinematic Universe reviews, and I see this show as canon. Now, this show does something weird at the beginning, and it kind of canonized the one shot, but also not really, because if you line up the one shot in this show, they don't line up. Don't worry, the one shot will get a review because when I do all of the one shot reviews, but they don't line up because like in the one shot stuff happens, and in this show like all of that basically gets erased. It just goes on like the one shot never happened, because we basically pick up a year after Captain America the First Avenger, and Peggy is still trying to get over the loss of Captain America. That's basically the big plot point of the show, getting over the loss of Captain America. Basically the whole show is saying move on Peggy, and also the other characters, because as I said in the opening, Howard Stark is in this as well, played by Dominic Cooper, who portrayed him in the movie as well. But it's basically getting over that loss and also exploring new characters as well. Now let's start off by talking about Peggy Carter herself, and my goodness, Haley Atwell is so hot, but also she's so good as Peggy Carter. You can understand why Marvel really likes using her, and apparently she's a main character in What If. I don't know, never seen What If, never gonna watch What If. I don't really care. What If doesn't interest me, but like I get why Peggy Carter is really popular, because the actress Haley Atwell is just so good in the role of Peggy Carter. And Peggy Carter here is just like, she just gets pushed down the whole time, the whole show, because we are in 1946. Alright, in this time frame, women were not equal to men in, you know, and everything. It was basically like, hey Carter, you handle the phone, even though we as audience members see the stuff that she does in Captain America the First Avenger. The Chief Dooley, which you know, I'll get to him later, still tells her, you will go for the phone, the men will go out there and fight. That's how it works, okay? Even though Peggy Carter's a badass, but the way that they handle her character, I think overall works well. There are certain issues that I have, but that's just personal issues, like her being a girl boss. It's kind of like, sometimes it goes a bit too far, but we'll save that for spoiler talk. Next up, we have the legend himself. We have James Darcy, D-R-C, I don't know how you pronounce the last name. It's the way that it's spelled, it confused me. But James playing Edwin Jarvis, and this is the reason why I see this as canon to the MCU, because this actor comes back in Endgame in order to play Jarvis once again. Jarvis is great. He is such a comedic character with the way that he presents himself, handles himself. You can see that there's a backstory to him, but also he just really cares about Howard Stark and also doing the right thing. But sometimes he also has a backbone, but he's the butler, so he doesn't really get to do a lot of action. But when he does get to do like a little bit of action in this show, you really see him like becoming like masculine, like his masculinity's coming forward, like, yeah, I did that, I punched someone in the face. It's a simple thing that Peggy Carter does throughout the show, makes him feel all manly. I love that stuff. James plays him perfectly. Next up, we have a bit of an antagonistic force, kind of, but not really. We have Jack Thompson, played by Chad Michael Murray, and he does a really good job at being just the worst. Let's just be honest here. Like later on in the season, like all these characters develop over time in that sense. Not all of them as much, but Thompson does develop over time, where by the end he respects Peggy more. But still, you know, he's still him, but he's just not a good he's not a nice guy, let's say that. He's a bully. Let's call him that, okay? There are words that I would say, but I can't say that because kids could be watching this. So he's a bully. Next up, we have Daniel Sousa, and kind of the love interest, I guess, of the show, because he's in love with Peggy Carter. Now, Daniel is a great character in the show, and basically the only one who actually is on Peggy's side throughout most of the show, at least the beginning part of the show. When everyone is putting Peggy down, he's the one who's like, hey, stop that. Could happen because of the fact that he's in love with her, or, you know, also maybe the fact that he respects her. But outside of that, also, I like the way that he interacts with people. And while he's crippled, that doesn't stop him from being a fantastic officer, because he still does his job. He still goes after the people that need to go after, you know, I mean, much slower, obviously, but he still does it. And then finally, for, I guess, main cast members, as I can see here, right here, we have Roger Dooley, the chief. And my goodness, he is a good chief who is really stressed with his home life. His home life is basically falling apart, and I like how the actor portrays it. The way that he, you know, you can see that there's a lot of problems, but he's kind of keeping everything together in order to do the job, to be the chief for these guys. And also he's thinking about it logically, because when he says certain things sometimes to Carter, it's like they sound wrong, but when he explains it, it's like, oh yeah, I get it. Because of that's the world that we live in. Because you need to remember, this is 1946, not 2015. I love to see the way that Shea Wiggum, I'm very terrible with names. Also, Enver, how do you, what is that last name? Gyokai, I guess. He plays Daniel Sousa. I forgot to say that. But the way that these actors portray, like, they really did get some really good actors. And also Dominic Cooper as Howard Stark is once again fantastic, just like he was in the movie. And this season is only 8 episodes. And as a little bit of a bonus thing, the first episode is written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. The second episode is directed by Joe Russo. And if you don't know who they are, them's the people, well, almost, we almost have all of them. We're missing one person, but still, them's the people that worked on the Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Civil War, and the 2 Avengers movies, and are gonna be directing Doomsday and Secret Wars. So, yeah, this is kind of like, I think that is why they made this canon, because of the fact that they were a part of it as well. Now, not everything in this season is perfect. I will talk more about certain issues that I've had. There's like a little bit of like this whole girl boss thing that goes a bit too far. Girl boss gone wrong is, I guess, how we can call it. And also there's another thing that really annoys me. I'll explain that more in that one, but there's like 2 things that annoy me to like lower the score for this one. But overall, like, the show also looks really good for like a TV budget, because this is a TV show, even though it kind of feels like a Netflix show or Disney Plus show. But that's only because of the fact that it's only 8 episodes, but this was released in between Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. seasons 2 and 3. I don't remember. But Agent Carter is only 8 episodes long. So also, it's not even that long. So you can just sit there, watch it, have a good time. It's about, what, like less than 6 hours long in total, I think. It's like around like 5.5 to 6 hours long in total. And that's not really all that long if you look at it compared to like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is like 23 episodes. So it also has a nice short runtime as well, but it gets its story across. It makes me so upset that Marvel has had a formula for making like the TV series for years, basically. And now that Marvel Studios has taken over, they just throw out that formula in order to make garbage after garbage. So let's just move into final verdict so I can talk about spoilers, because I don't really have much to say spoiler free in that sense. So my final verdict for Agent Carter Season 1 will be an 8 out of 10. A high 8 out of 10. I will say that right now. A high 8. But it just doesn't get to that 9 out of 10. The issues that I have, especially because over the last 2 days, I watched Agent Carter. And on the 3rd day, I guess, is when I'm making this review. So I have some time to like think about the show. And this morning, I actually woke up be like, why did you do that? Guy with minigun pistol. There you go. That's the one. But he's the main issue that I had with it, where it's just like, that was what I woke up with. Like, why? But we'll save that for spoiler talk. But this show definitely deserves an 8 out of 10. A high 8. And yeah. Also, the reason that I'm not reviewing this show as a whole, but instead doing it seasonal, is because of the fact that the seasons each have their own stories. So I will let their own stories speak for themselves. I will do the same thing with the Netflix stuff, where I will go season by season. And if the Disney Plus stuff has 2 seasons with like 2 different storylines, not one continuing storyline like Loki, I will also split that up into a couple of videos. Or, you know, it will be like Loki and I'll just make it one big video. But with that being said, thank you all so very much for watching. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought of Agent Carter Season 1. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Have you never seen it? Are you going to see it? But with that being said, if you guys have enjoyed, and if you did, please like button, subscribe if you're new, if you're not done already, turn on notifications, and don't forget to check out the Let's Play channel, link to the description and at the end of the video. And next week, I'll see you guys for Agent Carter Season 2. Bye!